So Tesla stock experienced a significant downfall again, trading at around $240, down more than $7 from the previous day's close. Yesterday, the day's trading saw a high of $249.30 and a low of $233.53, with a trading volume of over 66 million shares. This downturn is part of a broader trend, with Tesla stock having lost nearly 50% of its value since December 2024, dropping from $1.54 trillion to $777 billion in market cap. Analysts attribute this decline to weakening global sales and branding challenges linked to CEO Elon Musk's relationship with President Trump. And all of this is happening also because of how they're reacting to the protests happening against them. The Tesla takedown movement is strongly rejecting Elon Musk and Trump's attempt to label them as a domestic terrorist organization, which is clearly absurd. As seen in this headline from Electrek, the movement is fighting back against Musk and Trump after their push to brand protesters as terrorists. Another headline highlights Elon Musk's claim that the Tesla protests are organized by Democrats, though he provides no proof. He's thrown out familiar names like George Soros and others, clearly angry and frustrated by the backlash. In a recent interview, he appeared nearly in tears, discussing how difficult it has been to manage his companies. The next day, President Trump held what can only be described as an infomercial for Tesla on the White House lawn. It's unprecedented for a U.S. president to use the White House lawn to promote a struggling car company, especially one facing protests and declining sales. Adding to the controversy, Musk reportedly plans to donate $100 million directly to Trump's political operation. This isn't an old headline, it's new, following the nearly $300 million he contributed to Trump's campaign earlier. This raises questions about a potential quid pro quo, especially as Trump's infomercial for Tesla coincided with Musk's increased financial support. The situation feels increasingly undemocratic, with Trump spending a significant portion of his day promoting Tesla to his MAGA base, as liberals have largely turned away from the brand. This leaves MAGA supporters in a dilemma. Many conservatives have traditionally mocked electric vehicles, including Trump himself, who criticized them earlier in his campaign. Now, with Trump endorsing Tesla, MAGA supporters face a choice. Will they embrace electric cars to support Trump and Musk, or stick to their preference for fossil fuels? It's a significant shift, and it's unclear how it will play out. Meanwhile, Elon Musk has been vocal about what he calls a dirty tricks campaign against him and his companies, claiming it's happening exactly as predicted. He's casting blame widely, but the protests and backlash show no signs of slowing down. The situation remains tense, with Musk's companies under pressure and his political alliances drawing criticism. What do you think about this? Will MAGA supporters start buying Teslas? Let me know in the comments. The Tesla takedown movement is strongly rejecting Elon Musk and Trump's attempt to label them as a domestic terrorist organization, which is clearly absurd. As seen in this headline from Electrek, the movement is fighting back against Musk and Trump after their push to brand protesters as terrorists. Are Elon Musk and his initiatives, particularly his involvement with Doge, losing the support of the American people? The evidence suggests yes. Elon's conduct and the controversial actions tied to Doge have significantly damaged his popularity. Lara Trump's recent appearance on Fox News, where she seemed to advocate for unquestioning loyalty to Trump and Musk, has drawn sharp criticism. Many are now calling Fox News state media, given its overt support for the administration and its allies. This raises serious concerns about the erosion of independent journalism and the slide toward authoritarianism. If you're finding value in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button to help the algorithm spread it to more people. It truly makes a difference. Thanks. Trump has escalated the rhetoric, labeling attacks on Tesla locations as domestic terrorism. This comes amid growing protests at Tesla facilities. It's important to distinguish between peaceful protests and illegal actions. While some individuals have been arrested for breaking into stores or vandalizing property, the majority of protesters are peaceful. Protesting outside dealerships or stores is not illegal. It's a fundamental right in Western democracies. Yet Trump and Elon seem intent on conflating peaceful protests with acts of vandalism. Trump even called the protesters garbage people, further fueling concerns about whether we're moving toward a system where dissent is criminalized. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, known for her conspiracy theories, has echoed Trump's sentiments, calling for investigations into Tesla-related protests as domestic terrorism. She chairs a DOJ subcommittee, though critics argue it's largely symbolic. Jasmine Crockett, another committee member, has dismissed its significance, stating it's more about appearances than substance. While Elon's influence over DOJ is widely suspected, officials avoid explicitly naming him to sidestep potential legal issues. Greene has sent letters demanding investigations into who is funding the protests, suggesting links to Democrat-leaning groups. However, these accusations lack evidence and ignore the genuine public anger driving the protests. Elon continues to push the narrative of a shadowy billionaire orchestrating the backlash, often pointing to figures like George Soros. Yet, he fails to acknowledge that the widespread vandalism and anger may stem from public frustration rather than a coordinated effort. While Trump labeled one an act of love and the other domestic terrorism, the contrast underscores the double standards at play. The Tesla takedown movement has firmly rejected these accusations, emphasizing their commitment to nonviolence. They've stated, "We are a nonviolent grassroots protest movement. We oppose violence and destruction of property. Peaceful protest on public property is not domestic terrorism. They are trying to intimidate us, but we will not let them succeed." Despite Trump and Elon's attempts to link them to vandalism, the movement remains focused on peaceful demonstrations, distancing themselves from any acts of property destruction. The question remains, will this backlash against Tesla and Elon continue to grow, or will their efforts to discredit the protests succeed? Protests against Tesla have been growing for 4 weeks now, gaining momentum in size. Both Elon Musk and Donald Trump are clearly worried, with Elon particularly concerned about the impact on his companies. The protests have already affected Tesla's stock price, which has dropped more than 50%. While some Tesla influencers deny the protests are to blame, it's hard to ignore the correlation. When Trump publicly supported Tesla, the stock saw a temporary bounce, but the overall trend remains downward. Whether Trump calls the protests illegal or Elon claims they're part of a conspiracy, the reality is that public anger is driving this movement. People are unhappy with Elon's actions, and the protests are a direct response. The Tesla takedown movement has spread across the US and even internationally, with significant activity in cities like London. This weekend, more protests are planned, and the potential for larger turnouts is real. Imagine if 10,000 people showed up in New York or Chicago, it would have a massive impact. The power of collective action still exists, but it requires people to actively participate. Elon Musk's wealth is a key vulnerability, and he knows it. His emotional interview and Trump's attempt to boost Tesla by promoting it on the White House lawn highlight their concern. The Tesla takedown movement emphasizes peaceful, nonviolent protests, urging people to take action at Tesla showrooms, sell their Teslas, dump their stock, and join picket lines. Their message is clear. Hurting Tesla is a way to stop Musk, and stopping Musk is essential to protecting democracy. The stakes are high. A handful of tech billionaires, including Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Mark Andreessen, have shown little regard for democratic principles. Their actions and statements reveal a willingness to undermine democracy to achieve their goals. Elon's disruptive approach has angered many, and his surprise at the backlash reflects a disconnect from public sentiment. The protests are a reminder that democracy is fragile and requires active defense. The Tesla takedown movement is one way people are fighting back, using peaceful means to hold powerful figures accountable. Many people have already left the platform formerly known as Twitter, with many accounts now active on alternatives like Blue Sky. I still monitor the platform to track Elon Musk's statements and gather news. In London today, a Tesla car advertisement went viral. It was absolutely brutal. This appears to be a professionally designed ad, possibly created by skilled designers or even someone from an ad agency. This kind of boycott highlights what people actually think about Tesla and Elon Musk. Democrat politicians are starting to speak out, with one recently demanding transparency from Elon, asking, "Where is Elon? Why isn't he here? The public sentiment is clear, and it's reflected in surveys. A Tesla investor survey shows that 85% believe Elon's political activities are having a negative or extremely negative impact on the company. Most Americans also hold a negative view of Elon, with 6 in 10 people saying he lacks the experience and judgment to change the government. JP Morgan has noted that Tesla's brand damage is unprecedented in the auto industry, signaling deep concerns among investors. With first-quarter numbers expected to be poor and accusations of irregularities in Canada's carbon credit reporting, Elon's recent moves, including enlisting Trump's support with a $100 million donation, suggest he's pulling out all the stops to stabilize Tesla. What do you think about all this? Do you believe Elon Musk and Donald Trump are trying to stop the protests? As I've said, we're still living in Western democracies where peaceful protest and boycotts are legal. Crossing the line into illegal actions, like vandalism, is a different story, but there's no evidence linking the Tesla takedown movement to such acts. Labeling peaceful protesters as terrorists is absurd. What's your take on this? Do you think their efforts to suppress dissent will succeed, or will the public continue to push back? Let me know your thoughts. As always, please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more updates.